Peace. This is Black Dot, author of Hip Hop Decoded and my latest offering, Urban Culture Decoded. Between now and the new year, this book will be $10 plus shipping and handling. It makes for a great Christmas, Kwanzaa, or holiday gift for a young or old person who loves to read. This book will go in depth into our entire culture, from hip hop to the grocery store, to the barbershop, to the liquor store. I advise you to get this copy between now and the new year, because then the price goes back up. It can be purchased at iDecoded, that's idecodeit.com, for a limited time only. Peace.
Alright, welcome back to Urban X TV. Happy New Year to everybody out there in the world.
Happy New Year's.
Before we get started, I want to remind everybody to subscribe. It don't hurt. It's right there. You know what I'm saying? And if you like this video, share it, like it, and do all that good stuff. So right now, me and the Black Dot are here, and this comes after a lot of discussion and whether we were even going to do this, right?
Facts.
But we thought on it, and you felt like you really needed to share your perspective on this, and let's get to it.
Yeah, this is about the R.Kelly situation.
Yeah.
I struggled with it because it's so deep. There's so many levels to it, and it's sort of like performing an exorcism. And when you perform the exorcism, you take the demon out of that person, and a lot of times the demon jump into you.
Right.
And I feel the subject of this matter, and most people, I saw everything, they're surface gazing. There's a lot of emotion involved. But what I noticed was this. From last year, let's go all the way back to the beginning of 2018. So it started with Donald Trump.
Right.
Anything and everything Donald Trump began to divide our people. You know, some people on this side, most people on that side. In any event, it still began to conjure up emotions.
Right.
Emotions externally to your control. So I'm really big on spending energy on the things you can control and not letting external things screw you up. So Donald Trump was an underlining all year long. And the underlying issue was that this was the worst president ever. And my disposition on that was always, name one president who was worse than him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So this is a lot of theatrics, a lot of media manipulation going on. Then it came to the movie Black Panther.
Right.
Once the Black Panther movie came out, and if you went to see it and you had something nice to say, it was a good movie, I thought a whole nother bunch of people came out to, that's not real, Wakanda's not real, and it created a whole bunch of discussions, and not necessarily healthy discussions, but discussions nonetheless on Killmonger and the view of, the Black Panther, and you niggas are sellouts, and Hollywood owns the movies, and it went all the way up the line to we don't own nothing, and we didn't put nothing out, and it began to create a cycle. After that, it was Kanye West.
Definitely, yeah. Right?
With his personal statements on how he personally felt about a situation. And TMZ cleverly gave you a soundbite. This was not by accident. Gave you a soundbite that was misconstrued, and people ran with it. People created an entire platform off of a misstatement, which we had to clarify. Once we saw the full statement that he made, and et cetera, but it began to, again, put wedges through the community. I had so-called Facebook friends just block me because of my views, which is an interesting thought, because you're saying, because I don't think the way you do, I shouldn't be in your mix. So you want yes men. You want people to agree, and with your point of views. And what's happening under that is the algorithm. The algorithms itself is doing the same thing. Facebook only give you 20% of your people that's on your list, and they like-minded. So they're finding out what your common interests are by what you put in. Fuck Kanye, fuck this, and now all of you people are being grouped and not necessarily for conspiracy theory purpose, just so they know how to market to you.
Yeah.
You know, sell you mattresses, sell these people guns, sell these people fishing tackle.
Right.
So the algorithms itself are beginning to separate people. Then we got to Bill Cosby.
Right.
And then the male-female aspect of it went straight down the middle for the most part. Not saying that brothers didn't agree that Bill Cosby was guilty, but at the same aspect, we were looking around us and saying, well, goddamn, he's not the only one guilty. Shit, like, why, when the devil tells us, or the media tells us, this is who we should be focused on, that we immediately focus on that and we channel our energy to that specific person. Meanwhile, all the things happening around us go unnoticed or undealt with. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like we always need an external boogeyman or an external a force to channel our energy toward, and it makes us feel better inside. So the Bill Cosby shit went straight down the victim consciousness line. Women not want to hear none of that. They don't care if it was 30 years ago. Because let's face it, this Bill shit was, in most parts, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then, you know, we made it through the year. And as like clockwork, as soon as the new year comes in, Lifetime delivers a 6-part series on R. Kelly called Surviving R. Kelly. And like clockwork, our people once again fell for the okie doke once again. As you look at your timeline, this is the boogeyman of all boogeymen. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm disappointed in black people that we continue to fall. Now, none of this has anything to do with us personally per se, unless you can learn a lesson from it all, to know how to take care of your daughter, teach them. But for our energy levels to go through the roof the way it is, where people are literally blocking each other, cursing each other out, families are split down the middle over something that takes place every day in America, every single day. But because Lifetime told you that this is where your energy should be, not on the people who are above that. So I say all of that to preface, we have to be careful when we start talking about, you know what I mean, this situation. I want to make it clear. R. Kelly shit is monstrous. I don't want any women to think I'm defending any of that. This nigga is a monster. I almost broke my own rule. I told you I never get emotional when digesting information and things of that matter, because it forces you to become other than yourself and say things you can't get back. And if I had hit this camera on Saturday night, because I wasn't going to watch it.
Right.
I was laying in bed. I was ear hustling. Wifey was watching, and I sat up, and the details of it got me emotional for a minute, but I never operate like that. So I had to calm back down and go, wait a minute. I didn't learn anything new except specific details, but the crimes committed were committed way back when. Mm-hmm. So that's also something we have to take into consideration. So the conversation has to be on a much deeper level on how we go about peeling back the layers of this specific onion, so to speak. So in dealing with R. Kelly, like I said before, I want to make it crystal clear. I do not condone that behavior, but it's not that I don't condone it just because it's R. Kelly. It's a universal thing we do not condone. However, I want to say this. In the world in which R. Kelly resides, his behavior is normal. I'm going to say that again. In the world which he resides, Hollywood, entertainment,
yeah.
The elite, that behavior is normal. That is normal. This is why he ain't been charged with nothing. Because he resides amongst the elite, or the music industry elite. They all do this. And this is going to piss some people off, but it's a fact. For the last 20 years, Blacked Out, among others, have been on these platforms in the so-called underground trying to get you to listen and understand what you call normal in your world, your moralistic world of right and wrong. There's a polar world that exists. And in that polar world, eating babies is allowed, sacrifices are allowed, usurping adrenochrome, which is the specific energy created when the fight or flight of life is at its apex and you feel you're about to die. Your body secretes something called adrenochrome, and it is usurped from the base of your spine, and elite people take that part of that so that they can dimension hop and see things that you can see naturally through your melanin, if your melanin was not corrupted with bad water, fluoride, the chemicals in the food, the vaccinations, and so forth and so on. Okay, this is a fact. Don't take my word for it. Listen, they're telling you now. Corey Feldman and the young lady from Smallsville who just got arrested for providing pedophiles for Hollywood executives, they can no longer conceal this, right? This is a way of life, and there's a specific group of people in particular that this is their way. Have you ever seen a priest get arrested? Like, come out in handcuffs? Like, rarely, right? Because they know that this is their way of life. So in order to make sure that their life is preserved, they have to create small communities where their behavior is not looked upon as something bad. And the music industry, where they can veil it because they're the gatekeepers, so they can decide who they cross over into that section where they can let their guard down and just be themselves and get some boys. That's all we want, is a few boys. You know what I mean? Or a few girls, or whatever the case may be. And you can't do that amongst the populace, right? Because it would be looked upon as, and you can't control the people by telling them there are no rules. So you have to control the people by giving them moral standards to live by. Morality is for suckers, according to them. So let's create books of religious, this, that, to give the people
heaven and hell.
Right. Let's give them heaven and hell and morality. That'll keep them in check. And then we can freely operate and execute what we really want to do. We need the blood. You know what I'm saying? We need sacrifices to be made to entities and deities that exist in the astral realm and above to keep us in power. Now, if everyone had access to that, because our ancient ancestors do rituals too.
Right.
Because they know. So let's keep them in a tribal aspect and make that seem like voodoo. That stuff is bad.
Yeah.
And let's get the majority of the people to focus on moral standards. Then we can freely do what we want to do. And if one of us, you know, some people leak through, it's just par for the course when something leaks through. But we are able to do what we want to do. So we have Washington, D.C., with most of your senators and high officials, they rocking with that. Hollywood, the music industry, and the gatekeepers will tap you when they feel you ready to see what we're doing. Because it's not just pedophilia. Like I said, it's a whole bunch of things. Transvestites, a whole bunch of just weirdo play that takes place, and it's norm there. But it's not norm in the so-called real world. I don't know if that makes any sense.
I hear it.
Excuse me, but I had to kind of put that out there so that we begin to understand where we're going when I'm having this conversation.
Right.
So if you're looking at R.Kelly from a moral perspective, that shit is wrong. Who told you 14 was too young to have sex? The very same people who are telling you that this shit is wrong. Now, I'm not saying that it's not too young.
Right.
Grown ass men shouldn't be nowhere
Right.
near fucking kids. But who told you that? Who set the standard for this?
Right.
Right? Because all of that's about to be challenged in a minute. Because the pedophiles are looking to become normal. They're looking to regulate certain things where they don't have to keep hiding. They can just grab a kid and do what they want to do. And they're starting by trying to bring the age
of consent down.
to get it closer to the threshold.
New York, I think, is 17.
New York is 17. Certain places in the South is 16.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so forth and so on. So they're looking to bring this threshold further and further down so it makes more sense. Now, remember, when we grew up in certain ancient medieval places and just ancient places, when you started bleeding,
Yeah.
that was it. To this day in certain countries, you bleed, that means you are a full woman and all bets is off. So I only say that to say, pay attention as we begin to lay down this piece about R. Kelly. Now, I want to make a few things clear as well. If you feel that R. Kelly is a monster, you are correct. How can I look you in your face and tell you he's not?
Right.
If you feel that R. Kelly is the byproduct of being hurt, because hurt people, he too was molested, you are correct.
Right.
Right? If you feel that these young women were taken full advantage of and he should know better, you are correct. If you feel that Lifetime had an agenda to, pull this off to kind of take down black men, you too are correct. If you feel that R. Kelly is no more than 12 years old inside, because I speak a lot about when you violate a child, a lot of time their mental capacity shuts down, and while they may physically grow older, mentally they fucking kids. Right? This is why he levitated to high schools and shit, because what happened to him from his sister and a male counterpart that they're speaking about now that violated him. He wanted to marry his mother. Just a lot of weirdo shit going on. Lends to, not excuses, lends to why a grown-ass man who cannot read or write, keep that in mind, an intellectual woman, a grown woman, is too much of a challenge for him. Because he's a fucking kid. So he wants to stay low vibration where he mentally vibrates. This is not an intelligent man, as we will begin to see. He's a spiritual man. In a weird way, I'll explain when we get into music and morality. I'm trying to lay some things out here so I don't forget music and morality, right?
Right.
So if you feel that nothing new came out of that Lifetime that you didn't already know, talking about people my age who knew he married Aaliyah. You knew he married Aaliyah, right? And you saw the tape. Sad as it was, we all saw the tape. We all complicit to those crimes. I was writing for Four Corners newspaper as a journalist. At the time, we saw it. We did a report on it, whatever the case may be. And you did nothing then. You're complicit. Right? So for those who feel that those people who are doing something now are hypocrites, you are correct. So there was no one right or wrong answer to give when I started hearing people get on their platform and express their dissatisfaction with R. Kelly.
Right. Okay.
You understand my point?
Yeah.
There was no, how can you say that? Dude, everybody had valid points. That's why I started not to do this, because I don't want to beat a drum to try to find an angle which wasn't reached. But my spirit kept telling me, well, Doc, those who respect your opinion in these matters need to hear directly from you. You know what I mean? So with that being said, this is a very unique situation we're in. The reason nobody in the industry has come out against him, for the most part, you know what I mean? One or two sprinkles, John Legend, this and that, is because they're all doing the same things. They're all fucking kids. They're all doing nasty shit. And they know it. And whoa, don't get into our shit. Because once you start opening up that can, look, Jay-Z's under scrutiny right now.
And he didn't say nothing.
He didn't say nothing.
Yeah.
Right? Diddy's under scrutiny. He's got a baby by a chick who was 16 at the time. His oldest son. And the list goes on and on and on. But they don't want you to fuck with that shit. So focus your energy in on this monster. This is the monster that we must take down. All right? Now, I'm also going to say this, because I'm not going to be here long. I will never stop listening to R. Kelly's music.
All right, why?
I will never, ever, forever, ever, never, ever stop listening. Let me tell you why. Because when I didn't stop listening to his music when I heard he married Aaliyah, and I didn't stop listening to his music when I saw the tape. I didn't.
So what about you saw the doc when they talked about a lot of what he was singing about, he was actually pulling from real places.
I'm gonna get into that
because for me, some of the songs don't sound the same. Actually, to be honest with you,
some of the songs sound even more powerful and revealing to me. Okay. I'll explain that in a minute. So for those who stopped listening to his music way back then, I applaud you. Your moral standards are where they need to be. I am guilty of not only listening to his music, which was very powerful. Listen, his music is embedded deep within my psyche. I keep telling you, music is connected to your memory base. If I play I Need Love right now by LL Cool J, I'm going to go back to when I was in high school. I could still smell Shorty's hair, the one I was trying to talk to. Music helps you time travel. I have followed R.Kelly since the beginning. His music echoed the sentiments of my environment, whether you want to admit it or not. Ask any grown-ass woman what he did for them. He opened up vortexes of sexual and love energy that brought millions to the fucking planet. I just want to keep it a buck with you. I Believe I Can Fly is one of the greatest songs. You know how many graduations I've been to in that song played? Right. I can't remove those from memory. I can't remove Step in the Name of Love from a wedding that I went to and with me and my wife or whatever. I cannot remove the hood bangers because if I stop listening to his music now, you're asking me to delete just from my perspective. One thing I'm going to do is keep it honest with you. Now, had I done that from the beginning, I wouldn't have this problem. Right. I'm not going to allow Lifetime to put a special together and reveal nothing brand new, basically, except bring out the emotions and stir up emotions and then decide I want to be moral about it. Not only that, if you did not say nothing then, I'm talking about the people my age, and you didn't say nothing when the Dave Chappelle shit came on, and you thought it was funny, and the Boondock shit, and you thought it was funny, and now you wait 18 years later for Lifetime to tell you to mute him, you are a hypocrite. Point blank, I don't care how you dress it up. If it took a 6-part series for you to realize that this man has a problem, it's only 3 scenarios. You either a hypocrite, you are complicit in his actions, meaning you were around him during that time and you benefited from him, including the 150 duets and artists that he helped write for. You all knew the same thing we knew. Stop the bullshit. But you had something to gain and benefit from, so you looked the other way. Right? Right. So you are complicit to the accessories to those fucking crimes. Or you under mind control. Because it took Lifetime, not talking about the younger people who didn't experience R. Kelly's music. See, I don't listen to R. Kelly's music now because I've moved on. However, there was a time, a 10-year period, where he was the hottest artist on the planet. I believe he's the greatest R&B singer of our time. Okay, yeah. Maybe not the greatest ballad writer or this and that, but when it comes to street bangers, club bangers, pure love songs, inspirational songs, spiritual songs, nobody else moved from the root chakra to the crown chakra like R. Kelly. Challenge me on that shit. Sure, he might not have had the best voice, but who captured an entire generation the way he did? Right. Yeah. And he could not read or write. So what does that tell you? That means that every song that he sang came from real life experiences, from what he was experiencing. He can't even make up fucking stories. You see what I'm saying? So, in the documentary, they show you his brother said he saw Michael Jackson and said, damn, he looked like he can fly. So the nigga wrote, I Believe I Can Fly. Right? Ali's the world's greatest. So what did he sing? I'm the world's greatest. This is not complicated. I started listening. I went back to listen to the catalog. You can hear the pain. You can hear the hurt. You can hear the sorrow. You can hear everything that he was going through is right there. A woman's threat, a half on a baby. When a woman is fed up, your body is calling. All of these songs resonate with one thing and one thing only: pure truth. If you look between the lines, You Are Not Alone is one of your favorite Michael Jackson songs. But now Lifetime told you where the song came from.
Yeah.
And now everyone is on their moral high horse. Oh my God. You know how many songs that if you knew the true meaning of those songs? What song was that which was a hit in the 80s, and we just found out that the shit meant something totally different? It'll come to me.
Electric Slide?
Electric Slide.
Yeah.
That just fucked up the Electric Slide,
Yeah.
right? Prior to that, you thought the Electric Slide and the shit was talking about a vibrator going up in his wife's coochie, right? So you don't want to know the meanings to most of these songs. You just don't.
Right.
You want to let the song, and this is where I flip emotion and intelligence. I always tell people intelligence over emotion. When you're dealing with logic, principles, social, excuse me, political matters. In the music, it's the reverse. I want emotion over intelligence. I don't want you explaining to me what the fuck the song is. You know how you get some niggas, I was in the shower and, you know, this song, nigga, I don't want to hear all that shit. I want to hear the song. Let the song speak to me. It will speak to a different part of me. R.Kelly resonates technically from the heart chakra and below in a lot of cases, you know what I'm saying, with his sexual energy. But you cannot tell me. Challenge any woman, any real woman who wants to be honest. Not the ones who are now on their moral high horse and they're concerned about popular opinion. I'm never concerned about popular opinion. I can't operate like that. You know what I mean? I got to tell you how I feel. This man's catalog is amazing. Now, does not mean I do not support the women who need justice for what he did to them. The fuck? I rooted for OJ and I knew he killed those people. That's some morally incorrect shit, right?
Yeah.
But I still rooted for him, man. I did. I didn't stop watching OJ. I mean, Kobe Bryant when he violated that lady, right? I still rooted for him when he won the next two champions. Listen, if we start this shit will never stop.
Yeah.
I didn't stop listening to Michael Jackson's music, and I know people say, well, he wasn't found guilty. Or some people came forward. But Mike was into some weird shit. He liked sleeping with kids. I don't care how you dress that up. And I know some people came forward and admitted it wasn't true. Well, everybody who came out against Bill Cosby wasn't true. Right? 80 people came out against Bill. They was able to dismiss 30 of them. Because people are in it for a money grab. So you'll get some people who know this nigga violated you, but still jump on the conveyor belt because I might get a check out to shit. Right? So that doesn't mean that there weren't some people who got violated by Mike. Who, man, I like sleeping with little boys. We have popcorn. What? Right? And hurt people hurt people. Mike has been a child prodigy since he was 6 years old. And I'm afraid to know what they did to him. You know what I'm saying? And he hung out with Quincy Jones a very long time. I hate to know what Quincy may have done to him. Just keeping in the buck with you. Right? So we understand that these things take place. Right? Sam Cooke had a very inappropriate relationship with Aretha Franklin when he was 23 or 24. I think she was like 12 or 13 years old. Of the sexual nature. But I do want Chains Gonna Come to be played at my passing. It's one of the greatest songs I ever heard. Right? Muhammad Ali was a devout Muslim and fucked everything that moved. Don't get me started. Don't get me started when we want to start getting on our high horse about these things. We know these things about the people we respect and we love. And we still take their offerings. I never throw the baby out with the bath water, ever. And again, I am not condoning what R.Kelly did. R.Kelly didn't do nothing none of them people in Hollywood aren't doing, or the local dude around the corner who's molesting kids. The only difference is, see, money has the tendency to expound on your beast or your demons. We all have demons. that we're dealing with. Some are small. If you're an alcoholic, but you're a functioning alcoholic because you got to work 5 days a week, so you can't drink on the job, you're able to control your alcoholism to a certain degree. But if you have $50 million, the minute you woke up, you pouring a drink, and it would be the death of you eventually. Whitney Houston wasn't going by, let me get a dime bag of, no. She was buying half a keys at a time because she could afford it, and it was the death of her. R.Kelly is a pedophile. And if he was a local pedophile, just around the corner, got a little basketball team or some shit like that, we wouldn't even be talking about it. We see it, and every now and then we get at them, but because he had the money, the wherewithal, and the access to go to every mall around the country, his palate was greater. That's the only difference, because a pedophile is a pedophile is a pedophile. Okay? Right. Let's just keep that clear. Whether you had sex with 1 kid or 30 kids, you still violated principles. And the only difference, look at the Olympic doctor, right, who just recently got busted. Right. He was the gatekeeper. If you wanted to be on the Olympic team, and do not think some of them parents weren't complicit with that, and be like, you do what the good doctor says. How many times you watch Dance Moms, and them fucking moms is crazy, yeah, right? Anything to become a star. So do not think in any way that the mothers wasn't like, hey girl, just, he was the gatekeeper. And he took full advantage of that situation, right? This is what Hassan Campbell is saying about Afrika Bambaataa. He was, the hip hop icon from the Bronx, who sat in a position with a lot of poor kids with no father figures around, and he had the allegedly opportunity and then the ability to travel overseas in different places because of his stardom to have access to anything you want. So the only difference between R. Kelly and the local or your pastor, right, is he has a wider range to choose from. And it doesn't have to be all bad. Even if you're just a normal sex addict and you like sleeping with women your age, right? If you the local Joe Smo nigga, you can't afford that. You might get 1 or 2 girls here and there, yeah, hit the gram, yeah, whatever. If you got 50 million, you sex addict the fuck out, right? Rarely do you say, now that I have 50 million, I want to change my ways and become monogamous. Right. It don't work that way. So money is only going to heighten who you already are. If you're an asshole, and now you got money, you just money with asshole. An asshole with money. Right. That is it. You know what I mean? Money gives you access to the things you like. So the elite have money, so they get all the boys they want with no real issues. Your boy Trump is trying to do something about that, but nobody's talking about that. When he say drain the swamp and all that, he's talking about, when you hear about Pizzagate and all of this stuff that's leaking, it's because they're all down with a pedophile ring. All of them. Right? You see your man, and I know you didn't see it, your man Aquaman is feeling on his own daughter's titty. I'll show it to you when the cameras is off. And somebody said that looked like, like a Final Cut. And now I saw it from a whole nother angle, and the shit is weird. And he let his daughter take a picture with a naked rock star recently. Why? Because a lot of them, that's who they are. They molest their own kids. They prepped, and the wife knows and looks the other way. These are the sad things that we're not dealing with, because it's easier for us. It makes us feel good inside to say, R. Kelly's, at least I don't do what he did. So they galvan up our energy to really, pop us off like that. And I'm not saying what he did was wrong. I told you Bill Cosby was guilty, but not just of that specific case, because that case didn't make sense. That's all, but they went back. And it seems like it's almost like an attack on the straight males right now. There's a new crew in Hollywood that you better be careful about. Forget the Jewish men that sit on the very top. You know what I'm saying? Their whole shit is just boys. That's all the fuck they like. Then it's the gay mafia who just gay. They might, it's just a homosexual thing. Now it's these feminine women who creating their own movement. Ava, all of them, Oprah's probably the queen bee of that shit. They all got their own little crew of women now, and they just have to men. Right? Regina King just won the Golden Globe Award, which she should have for Beale Street. I told y'all to go see that. And she just said some real subtle shit like, from now on, I'm hiring at least 50% women. And all the women stood up and, yeah. And that's a subtle shot at men. Quiet as kept. I understand what she's saying. She didn't say, I'm hiring 50% black people from now on. I would have been like, that's what I'm talking about, girl. Because black men need work too. That's not what she said. She specifically said 50% women. Right? Then you got your girl who was on the documentary with the blue hair.
Jamila Lemieux.
Yeah, who clearly said black men are the greatest killers.
She said she said on the Breakfast Club interview, black men are like the number one killers. She said number one and number two, something super high, and
of black women.
Yeah, black men are like the number one or number two killers of black women. She completely discounted like heart disease, cancer, breast cancer, anything else. But she said
abortions.
Like she said, black men.
You know what I mean?
And they let her slide. They let her
go. Just let her rock with that. Yeah, you gonna rock with that. And that's like going for the cause and not the effect. I mean, the effect and not the cause. Yeah. As metaphysicians, we always go up top. You know what I'm saying? And then we trickle it down for the very reason that black men are in the position we are, has to do with white supremacy and all those other things do play a factoring role. When there are no jobs, we're going to commit crime because that's just a natural survival tactic. Yeah. Right? And if you see us committing crimes or hustling or doing this and that, it's easy to say, you niggas are the problem when the society has created situations that create these problems and so forth and so on. And, you know what I mean? So we can't make these broad statements.
Oh, like that's what social media and stuff is, though.
And again, this is going to bring me to that point. We eventually going to have to let the social media shit go.
Yeah.
And I know it's very hard to do, but the wise already know. We already know this I have to jump in, handle my business, and jump out because the algorithms are super intelligent now, and now they have the psychoanalysis. They can do the profiles on everybody just by what you input. You know what I'm saying? And so forth and so on. So this R. Kelly thing has spiraled way out of control.
Yeah, I was at ground zero. Like, I was on Twitter as like the series was premiering, like the first two parts. Mm-hmm. And the discussions were, and I saw where the disconnect was coming from. And I told you, it was people talking about, the things R. Kelly was doing, how horrible it was. And then somebody would implant their argument on top of that and say, well, what about Weinstein? Why isn't it a film on him? I think there is, but that was, what
about the Catholic Church?
What about this? What about this? What about that?
Right.
And then that comes off as, and I told you, that comes off as dismissive of what we're talking about now. Right. So that means you're not taking this serious. You're not taking the issues black women going through as serious because most of his victims were black women. Mm-hmm. So that's usually where the division comes from. You know what I'm saying? And then once, the conversation becomes that, then all the arguments become really general. All black men don't care about black women. We fight for you guys. Or these girls are too fat. You know what I'm saying? It becomes...
Listen, this is being all orchestrated outside of us. Now, I saw a brother, Rizza Islam, this is a brother from the Nation of Islam, give a very heartfelt breakdown of, the rape culture in America, period.
Right.
And that the owner of Lifetime, which is A&E or something, he got caught with child pornography. I forget his name, Brower, and I take Riz's word because the Nation of Islam is very thorough in their research. So if he said it, I believe it. It's the hypocrisy of it all. You know what I mean? And it goes up the ladder with Walt Disney, right? Who was a misogynist, racist pedophile, right? So where are we going with this? Right? R. Kelly is no different than Joe Smo around the corner. No different than your uncle who put his hand in your panties when you was a little girl. So let's not stop at R. Kelly. That's what I'm saying. Right. Let's not stop there. If this is a movement y'all want to start, I'm behind you. But after you take down R. Kelly, I need you to go on the whole stroll in your local neighborhood. We all know where it is. Because the pimp is doing worse than R. Kelly. He's getting these runaways and fucking them up and putting them on drugs and having them sell pussy. What's the difference? Underage, they just let girlfriend out. Centoya.
They're gonna release in
August.
Yeah.
So that's a great thing. She is a victim of this. Okay, she is a victim. She was 16 at the time that she committed the crime, so she was underaged, right? No telling how long homie was pimping her prior to that. So we do understand that this is a systematic thing. So if you take down R. Kelly and pat yourself on the shoulder, it's like recycling this fucking bottle and thinking you helped save the planet. I did my part. You're a fucking hypocrite. Hashtag mute hypocrisy. But if you continue and you going into the community, you going into your church, you know what the deacon has been doing. You know what the pastor's been doing. Stop it. You in the church, you hear the rumors. If you do not continue your pursuit to bring down every pedophile, and you're going to be at work for a long fucking time. I'm going to tell you that shit now. But if you stop at R. Kelly, that is mind control. You allow Lifetime and them carpet munchers up there to galvanize your energy and get you to focus on the deflection. This is the problem. R. Kelly's not the problem. R. Kelly is a problem. Big difference, right? Because when you say he's the problem, that means when you get rid of him, oh man, women out here safe. Woo. Glad these women, I'm glad we got R. Kelly off the streets, because and then you're not being honest and you're being a hypocrite.
I'm curious to see what the ramifications in the music industry in general will be. Because like you said, like once you start peeling back the layers on R. Kelly, there's a lot of artists who have
Jay-Z is complicit. He went on tour with R. Kelly. Motherfucker, you knew? Because when the Best of Both Worlds dropped, the tape dropped. That's why you couldn't do the tour right away. You know what I'm saying? He fucked that up, and you had to fall back. And you still went on tour with this dude. You knew? You did 2 albums.
Yeah, it's a lot of they did 2. And then it's a lot of the second one came out because he said we didn't do the first one right, something like that.
Yeah, some old kind of crazy shit. Yeah. Innocent to proven guilty or guilty to some song they wrote and all all that old kind of shit.
And then like all the artists who did songs with him after the fact,
which is the whole goddamn world.
Yeah, it's not like it stopped right there. Like his.
This is what I mean.
Yeah.
So we dealing with hashtag mute hypocrisy now. Because you went into the booth, into the studio, and was like, write me a song. Or let's do this song. You knew. Right?
Right.
So the level of hypocrisy stinks. And now all of a sudden, forget all of that. We just want to take down him. He's the problem. Again, we're always externalizing what the fucking problem is. Right? We have to internalize our own problems and protect everything around us. This nigga's not the boogeyman. It's like saying Bin Laden was the boogeyman. You see how they always manipulate and give you who they want? They gave you Donald Trump. They made him look like a clown. And they made it seem like, oh, he's way out of control. And all we do is feed our energy into that shit. Kanye West said what was on his mind. What the fuck does it have to do with me? That had nothing to do with the bearing of my existence in no capacity. It didn't take money out my pocket, didn't put money in my pocket, didn't stop my kids from going to school. It stopped nothing. But yet people was like, fuck Black Dot. I was going in saying, what the happened to my man? Oh, shit. And the ones who didn't delete me wanted to delete me. Because I had a different view. I decided to peel back a different layer and look at it from a different perspective. This nigga's heated to this day. So,
well, that goes more into like insecurity about just their people associate your point of view with intelligence, right? So if they feel like you have a different point of view and then you're able to articulate it and then not. That's just insecurity. It's not.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I have no problems. I understand the way this shit go, hiding behind these keyboards, or giving out opinions and shit like that. But the truth of the matter is, we black people, we in trouble, man. If R. Kelly is the problem, we in trouble. Because now all the other people who've been doing making R. Kelly look like a choir boy. The shit going on in Hollywood. They laughing like, really? That's all he did? Not feed them for 3 days? What about the ones who shitting and pissing on chicks and making them eat piles of shit? Don't get me started, man. This shit runs deeper, and the boogeyman, man, the boogeyman got you facing or looking in the other direction while he and she operate on a whole nother realm of existence. They rock out with what they do. And then they throw you a bone when they want to move that attention there. But every single artist R. Kelly has ever worked with, after they knew that he married Aaliyah, is complicit. How could you not? Like a Lady Gaga just came out today. I will no longer be working with R. Kelly. Her Satanist ass? Is she serious? John Legend, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, and because people dug up a picture of him and Weinstein, and
chilling.
And he said, "I didn't know." I have a hard time believing that.
Everybody in Hollywood know everything.
Yeah, I have a hard time believing that.
They all know.
Yeah.
And Charlemagne the God, if you feel that he had no business being on that fucking platform, you are correct. I'm pretty sure Choke No Joke, shout out to Choke, jumped out his fucking seat when he saw this nigga
Right.
giving his opinions on R. Kelly. You got an open case with Jessica Reed.
It's not open anymore. But.
Well, it's not open, but no, my man Choke No Joke just reopened that motherfucker as far as I'm concerned, because her information is valid. It's got a lot of valid points in it. And then they dug up his tweets about R. Kelly.
Yeah.
And how that's the best sex tape going. What?
Right.
And Dream Hampton, who put this together, didn't do her homework. Dream Hampton, who also wrote Jay-Z's book. You know what I'm saying? The actual book he wrote. Dream Hampton, really? Oh, okay. And y'all don't see an agenda here? Y'all don't see what's going on here? Who's after R. Kelly? Let me see. We got Bill. Kanye might have did himself in. I don't know. Now R. Kelly. Who's next? Russell's out of the country in Bali, somewhere, trying to wait out the storm. When you start peeling back that onion in Hollywood, come on, we know what Hugh Hefner was into. He took the picture of Brooke Shields. She was fucking 10. Yeah. Right? Put it on the cover. Because that's the shit they into. And Hugh Hefner provided all the boys for all the senators who came in town. He was the go-to guy. That's why he never got arrested for none of that shit. He was the go-to guy for fetishes. You just told him what you was into. And he was CIA, because that's probably how J. Edgar Hoover got all them tapes on all them senators, which gave him all the power in Hollywood.
You know, him and Bush were first cousins, or like first or second cousins.
Who, J. Edgar Hoover?
No, Hugh Hefner and
okay, and we know what the Bushes are into. So this is all one gumbo. And y'all gonna say R. Kelly? The mind control in this country, especially amongst black people, is extremely high. We go and we believe what they tell us to believe, and we garner the emotions that they tell us that we should garner. I refuse to fall for that, so R. Kelly's music will always play. And I don't mean like I'm gonna forcefully go out and be playing R. Kelly now on the street. No, if I hear an R. Kelly song that brings back a beautiful memory for me, I'm not gonna close that memory off to make you fuckers feel good about yourselves. No, those who did it then, which was very hard because his music played on every radio station and in every club. So if you were boycotting his music, I want to know to what capacity. Like when a song came on in the club, I can't listen to that because of my moral values. I don't know, maybe. You know what I mean? I'm not going to do that, and I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and tell you I am. Because I can sit up and say, yeah, man, I ain't going to ever listen to his music again because what he did was wrong. And then I got to start peeling back all the other artists. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I never stopped listening to Snoop's music, Michael Jackson's music, Sam Cooke's music, Marvin Gaye's music, Aretha Franklin. The list goes on. These people use their music as their gateway.
I also think it's easier to go after people who haven't been, in the limelight. Very true.
Because we have no more use for you.
Yeah.
They have no more use for Bill.
Right.
right? So we can go after Bill because whatever power and energy he had, because remember, again, talking about music, it's the only thing that can enter your subconscious mind without your permission. It is spiritual when done correctly. The organs, the horns, everything about it. And it can suspend because it's operating from here, right? You weigh the feather, the heart against the feather in ancient times, not the brain. They threw that shit out. The heart and the feather. R.Kelly resonated into your heart in his music, right? Whether you wanted to accept it or not during that time, that's what it was. Listen to his catalog. Me and Eli sat here and listened, and I forgot he wrote these goddamn songs that meant so much to a lot of us growing up. It just is. I wish, and I believe I can fly, and listen, the catalog, Step in the Name of Love, Happy People, all of these songs meant something, and I'm not going to allow them not to mean something now. You know what I mean? That would be me playing myself. You know what I mean? And that I'm not going to do. Music is that powerful. It can suspend logic. This is why even on a smaller scale, when Rick Ross was having problems because we found out he was the police, what did he do?
Put out great music.
He put out great music. We forgot all about it because the music speaks to a part of you that supersedes earthly bound logic shit. Right? I told you once again, you are a spiritual being having a human experience. The human experience is limited to third dimensional rules and regulations set by somebody else. Right? And you don't always win with them. You might die eating fucking Twinkies if Twinkies became your fetish. You know what I mean? But spiritually, if you had something to offer, how much money do you think the industry is made off of R.Kelly? Hundreds of millions of dollars. How many kids rode in on a light code transmission through their father's ball sack with R. Kelly in the backdrop? So he's populated the planet. You say anything you want to say. It's when you really think about it. Right? Same thing with Luther. And Luther was a gay man. Luther Vandross. Let's be clear. His music, a house is not a home. Do you know what he was doing to populate? So you have to be able to go, music and morality sometimes don't mix.
This one, the R. Kelly thing, because I never thought about how, because he couldn't read, he would just pull in from stuff, like actual memories. It kind of brought the gap a little closer when we talk about music and like the artists. Or art and
everything he wrote was real, in some capacity. Everything. Go back and listen again. And when he's talking about, he got one song called "I Don't Mean It." You know what I mean? When he's telling you, "I don't mean to curse you out. I don't mean to do all these things. Please forgive me." You know what I'm saying? Pray for me. All of his songs are screaming out for help, right? And because he can't read or write, it goes to show you the diminishing aspect of reading and writing. It's bullshit. You don't need to read and write. But if you can articulate how you feel, that comes from in here, the heart chakra. This is how I feel. Right? Forget what logically you want me to say to make you comfortable in your reality. I don't even have the mental capacity to do that. But I can hear something and know I can compose. Go listen to the production, go listen to the ad-libs, go listen to every single aspect of this man, and do not tell me this man is not a musical fucking genius.
Everybody on the documentary, that's the first thing they said.
So we do know you can reside in both worlds. Your lower self and your higher self is at war. Right? Your lower self, your lower demons may just be alcohol. That's cool. But you a fucking alcoholic, and when you become an alcoholic, you become other than yourself. You might become sexually promiscuous. You might beat your wife. I love him when he's not on alcohol. How many times you hear a woman say that? He's such a loving person until he starts drinking. Because when he starts drinking, the energy goes down and the beast in him, right? Or you might be a gambler. You know what I mean?
Right.
And now the fucking mob has got your kids and threatening to kill little Tommy because you didn't pay the $200,000, right?
Right.
Because you're demons. But when he's not gambling, oh, he's such a beautiful man. How many times do we hear this? It's just that his happen to be the worst of all, which is fucking children. Side note, I heard Marvin Gaye was a serial killer, but I don't want to get into that. Right
What?
now. I heard Marvin Gaye was a serial killer back in his day. Don't ask me who told me that shit.
Allegedly.
But it came allegedly from a very a close source. Anyway, my point is, everything we do here is a fight for good and evil. And because my evil may not be as evil as that evil, I pat myself on the shoulder. At least I ain't butt fucking kids. Don't mean I ain't in the corner shooting heroin or taking meth or on lean,
right,
or my teeth are falling out from scissor or whatever the fuck your demons are. We all fighting them. And the more money you have, again, maybe enhances your demonology. So don't get on your moral high horse, please, and you're better than R.Kelly. He needs help. You know what I mean? That is some wicked shit. This nigga's the boogeyman. You know, when I was getting into the psychosis of this nigga's story, but then I was like, okay, this dude who live around the corner who's also doing the same thing to his niece and nephew is a boogeyman. Mm-hmm. But because Lifetime didn't do a special on him, we don't know about his boogeyman shit. Side note, they gave me and dropped the special on Michael Jackson. I told you, right? 2 new kids. And that's a Sundance special now. He's gone, so we can kill, just knock his energy off, right?
Right.
So you got to be careful.
And that's gonna, and I feel like because in essence with this R.Kelly thing, they kind of killing off his music, like the impact. So I guess they're trying to retroactively do that to Mike.
They do that
already.
Yeah, they do that from time to time.
Yeah.
I used to use the example with Flavor Flav. You know what I'm saying? From Public Enemy, the greatest hip hop group of all time, he started dating white women. That's against the principles of Public Enemy. The song is called Fight the Power, not Fuck the Power. You know what I'm saying? So by him doing that, when young people go back to listen to Public Enemy, they cannot get Flavor Flav's antics out of their fucking head. They just can't. And now the group looks like a fucking joke. The most powerful, I don't see them as a joke, but I'm saying the appearance could come across as that because they took a key component and reversed that nigga's energy so that when you go back, because music helps you what? Time travel. So now you go back and you listen and you see Flavor and you see white women. And you, because he started the whole reality TV shit. So you see reality TV. How serious are these messages now? So all of this stuff is very important for us to remember. The music is powerful. The music was the platform he was using to give his best self. The Robert Kelly aspect was his worst self. Let that be a story within itself that we understand how good and evil the higher and lower self work within all of us.
So how do you think things are going to go? This is beyond the R. Kelly situation. How do you think things are going to go in the future when we go back and we revise history and we begin to judge people off of things we were initially complicit with, we were initially okay with, and now we're not okay with that? It's not going to be a lot of people left. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Because again, if they start going case by case throughout Hollywood, there's nobody left. If you started taking that principle on everything you see in Hollywood, from the actors, you be listening to hillbilly music for the rest of your life, and not even them. Them niggas is crazy too, right? So this is what we're up against. They can now, I told people before, they can change history. They go back, change some shit, and then the future has a different outcome based on your perception of what you thought that shit was, including Dr. King. Right? That man was way up on a pedestal until you realize he was human. And this is why I've always preached, stop following these people. Idol worship is dangerous. IDOL, but I changed it to IDLE, because you become stagnant when you stop worshiping these individuals and how they get down. If you put your pants on the same way I do, you are no better than me. I don't care if you got $50 billion. And that's the way I've always seen it. You know what I mean? This is my life, that's yours. pleasure. I appreciate your music or your acting, but you are no greater than me. I know how the ways of man is. You know it. You see it in your church every day. You know the reverend ain't a man of God in most cases. Stop that bullshit. Right? And all he got to do is pray. They just got a priest who infected 30 kids with HIV, and they forgave him. He just blamed it on the devil or whatever. The dude who bought his wife,
a Lamborghini, yeah.
the $200,000 Lamborghini, was cheating.
Yeah, had
Had an affair, had a baby. And he had to buy his wife a fucking car.
Right.
Kobe had to do the same thing with his girl and get her that big $6 million ring. Or whatever the case may be, right? So let's move off the moral high horse when we start understanding this. But in order to do so, our women have to understand we love them. And our women have to understand that not all of us are out to take full advantage of them. And our women got to understand we in this together. We came over on the same shit. You know what I mean? We're all being traumatized in different circumstances. Men hate when they can't provide for their woman. In the natural sense of who we are. Right? And it makes us become other than ourselves and this and that. And because you got with these white women and they're making you feel that you're above and you can do, since when it hasn't always been about the black family. That's the problem. It's now, these men.
Yeah.
Which is funny, gay people bug me out because they hate straight people, but they need straight people to make more gay people. It's a really weird dynamic with that shit, right? You rode in here on a penis. Yeah. It's the only way you got here. Yeah. And you hate penis. It's like almost hating God. Yeah. In a really weird that you hate your creator. That's against nature. But again, in those Hollywood upper echelon realms, that's what they do. Everything is reversed. It's reverse polarity because they're against the people of God, who we are. You know what I mean? So with that being said, any questions you want to ask in regards to this? I hope this sheds a little bit more clarity and light on how deep this situation is. But the world, to sum it up, that R.Kelly resides in, this is normal behavior. So you have to understand, you looking at it from your moral perspective, it loses credence once it crosses over into that world that they reside in, because they all get down like that. All of them. You know what I mean? You cannot get up in higher places in Hollywood unless you get down with what they get down with. We can all agree what he personally did, he should pay for. But it should not stop there, because then we all become hypocrites. If it does stop there, it should move down the line locally. So don't make it seem like it's a celebrity thing we must take down, because I told you there are celestial stars and then there are artificial stars. Each one has the ability to guide you in some way. So when you're cut off from the celestial aspect, you start following artificial stars, and when they burn out or they die, a part of you dies with them. So they're now trying to remove his star from their artificial celestial grounds, and you're gonna suffer for it. Don't stop there. Deal with the dude on the corner that you know is a pedophile. Deal with your pastor. Deal with your uncle. Deal with your auntie. Deal with those issues too, because then your stance on R. Kelly can be used as a springboard to greater things. If 2 weeks later we're not talking about this no more, right, and now they got you focused back on Kanye because he got a new album coming out, and he says something crazy, you are under heavy mind control. Just know it. Right. And for all of you artists from Charlie Wilson and Jay-Z on down who have worked with R. Kelly for years and have made millions of dollars off his genius, you are a fucking hypocrite. If all of a sudden now you want to become holier than thou. It's just that. Yeah. You are a fucking complicit hypocrite. You sat back and y'all niggas was in parties with this nigga. Mm-hmm. Let's keep that shit clear. You're a fucking hypocrite. If your movement to now move against R. Kelly was only sprung about on January 6th when they aired this program, you are under heavy mind control. Except young people who may not have known. You know, you 25, 30, you may not have known the intricate details, and this is your first, okay, I can see you becoming, yeah, let's take that man down, or this and that, whatever. For those who are my age, who knew, and still step in the name of love, I was, you know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna keep it a buck, right? We was in there rocking to that shit, and we knew. Just like we knew about Sam Cooke, and we knew Mike was a little weird, and we knew Luther was gay, and we knew the list goes on, and we knew Chris Brown beat the shit out of Rihanna, and BET brought him back on stage, and we all, I guess it's okay now, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're fucking hypocrites. Hashtag mute hypocrisy is the last thing I'm gonna say about that.
Right.
Peace.
Peace.